Today we are going to be making salted caramel brownies. First of all, what you're going to need to do is you're going to grease and line a baking tin like I have just done here. I've got some butter on a napkin and I'm just lightly greasing my baking tin and putting the greaseproof paper in. I'm cutting down the corners to make sure that I can get it all fitted in nice and smoothly so that I don't cause any creases in my brownies round the sides. So I'm going to be chatting us through the ingredients and the method for how you can make your own at home. This week we've been looking at food product development and how we're going to create a new baked item that we would include in Costa. So we're going to make brownies today and evaluate how good these would be if we were to make them for a cafe. So in this pan that I'm going to put on the hob, I've got 200 grams of butter and 200 grams of chocolate as well. Now I've used Galaxy chocolate because it's my favourite. You don't have to, you can use whatever kind you like. And I'm going to come back to that a wee bit later and melt it on the hob. You can buy these tins of caramel in the supermarket and they come in the 397 grams that you require. You're going to take some of it and just put it in a wee bowl and add in the 2.5 mils of salt, and that's going to give you your salted caramel that we add into our brownies. The rest of it has just went into my big blue bowl, and I'm sieving in my sugar, and also my 3 eggs are going in here. Now remember, when you do this, you crack your eggs into a separate cup to make sure that they are not off, because by looking at the egg you don't know if it's off, and also that there's no shells in there. And I do that one at a time. If I was to crack it straight into the bowl, I would ruin all the ingredients in there if it wasn't suitable. So 3 eggs go in, and then you're going to beat that till it's nice and smooth. Then I just set that to the side until I was ready to melt my chocolate. And in it goes. Now these eggs in here is what's going to help your brownies to set. When an egg is heated, it sets, it's called it coagulates, which means that it will hold the brownie shape and it won't be liquidy anymore. And here we've got the butter and the chocolate. Now there is a lot of fat in here. Butter and chocolate are both very high in fat, so it's important we remember to enjoy brownies as part of a healthy, balanced diet. So I've just let that cool down, so I didn't heat it for too long. If you heat it for too long, the oil and the chocolate and the butter will split and you won't get it to come back together, and it'll make your brownies quite oily in texture. But I've let that cool down slightly before I've added it in, because I don't want to end up with scrambled egg in my bowl, because obviously we've got our eggs in here. So I've let that cool down slightly before I've added it in, and now I'm incorporating all my liquidy ingredients together to form a nice smooth batter. And in goes I've got cocoa powder and 130 grams of flour here and 50 grams of cocoa powder, and I'm adding that in gradually. So I'm just spinning it into my sieve, sieving that in, and that's going to incorporate more air to help us give us nice and light and fluffy brownies, as it's plain flour, so this will actually help it to our brownies to rise. And I've added it in gradually so that I can mix it in and make sure that I don't have any pockets of flour or cocoa powder, which if you bite a muffin or whatever and it's got a wee pocket of floury texture, it wouldn't be very nice. So do that gradually until you've got all of the dry ingredients incorporated into your wet ingredients in the bowl. And the more you mix it, the more air you're going to incorporate, and also the smoother it's going to be as well. And once you're happy with it, it's time to load that up into your baking tin. Now we're going to split this. We're going to put half of the batter into the bottom of the mixture. Half of the mixture into the bottom of the baking tin, like this. It's really quite runny. This mixture, the mixture gives you really gooey brownies, which are exactly what I'd be wanting. Make sure it's all in at the sides, and then the next bit, what you're going to do is you're going to take your little bowl of salted caramel, and you're going to use most of it at this section here, and you're going to spoon it all on. Now, there's no right and wrong way to do this. Just blob it on. Make sure you leave some for the top layer. And on top of this salted caramel, you're going to add the rest of the brownie mixture. Flatten it all out. Make sure you get it all out the bowl. That's just what it looks like just now. And to make it nice and flat, or to make it all even, especially if we were going to be selling this item in a cafe, you would want it to be evenly distributed. So you didn't want to have one bit with more caramel than another bit. So by doing this step here, I'm ensuring that my brownies are going to be all of a similar identity. So they're going to have all the same amount of ingredients in them. So I've now added the rest of my mixture on the top, and now is the time to add the caramel that is left in the little tub, to give that top layer the same kind of flavour as well. And again, I'm going to use my, I've got a wooden skewer, but if you don't have that, you could easily use the back of a knife or a fork. And I'm just swirling that on. Again, this just helps to evenly distribute the salted caramel across the top, so that if you were to be selling these in a cafe or promoting them to people, you would want everybody to be getting the same kind of flavours. So you want that to be evenly distributed throughout. Now, I preheated my oven to 180 before I started, and this is just going to go into our oven to bake, and it's going to take about 40 minutes. Now, one thing with brownies, when they first come out the oven, they still are you want your brownies to be soft and gooey, but if you go right ahead and cut them right away, they're going to all fall apart. So once I put this in to the oven, we're going to leave it for 40 minutes in there and then check to make sure that it's ready. I'm just going to do my swirling. I'm sure I took a picture of this as well before I put it in the oven because it looks lovely. And the smell, if you could smell it, it does smell great. So that was in there for 40 minutes. Now I've taken it out, I've left it to rest in the tin until it's cooled down, because like I said, it will lose its shape if you go and you cut it right away. Once it is out, you're wanting to test it for readiness. Now, it will still be gooey, so other tests we would use is like putting a skewer in to see if it comes out clean for normal cakes or muffins that we've made. However, if you were to do this with this, because of the salted caramel that we've added in it, it's always going to come out, the wooden skewer would always come out wet. Plus, you want it to be gooey. So we're looking for, like we said, the eggs in this will cause the brownie to set. So we're wanting it to be a solid cake like what we've got here in front of us, rather than liquidy. And it will go a nice golden brown colour on the outside. And time is another way to make sure that it's ready. So if it's in there for 40 minutes, it's going to be just about ready. And you can see on my knife there, all the caramel that came off it. And it smells so nice. So just cut that up. I've got some on my wee plate. This makes quite a lot, so make sure if it's too much, you can half the recipe. Oh, I've just eaten a bit. Definitely, you could half the recipe if you didn't want to make so much, but I took this to my family at the weekend. And please make sure you send in your photos if you do make it. Now, one issue that maybe you would have if you were including this in a Costa range is that Some people might get outside bits if you're making it like a batch like this. So some people might prefer an inside bit or an outside bit. So it might be an idea to make them individually, like little individual brownies. And that is them there. Make sure you send us in some photos and let me know if you try them out, as they are delicious.